Hello, Stitchy friends! How is everybody doing? Today is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. My name is Andrew, this is my dog Winston, and you have stumbled upon The Runner Stitcher. This is my channel where I talk primarily about my cross-stitch journey and a little bit about running as well. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy what you see. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. You all mean the world to me, and especially during a very challenging part of my life, it's been nice to sort of come to you guys and just talk cross stitch, and especially for all of the kind comments that you left on my last video last week. I really do appreciate that. So I hope you know this goes both ways, and I feel your support so much, and I really do appreciate that. So thank you for coming back and spending a little bit of time with me today. I think this will be a little bit of a shorter video, but I will talk about the whips that I worked on in the past week and just sort of a little bit of life things as well. So let's just jump into it. First of all, I wanted to talk about the Whip into Shape challenge. This is the challenge that I created back in May for all of you to stitch along with my marathon training. And we are now in week 16. So we have this week and then next week, 2 weeks left. But we're in week 16. So far I have run 480.2 miles, and that translates to 4,802 stitches. Roughly, that's about 66 hours, I think, that I've run over this time, which is mind-boggling to think about how much time that is over the last few months of running. And yeah, it's been great. We're really getting down to the end now, and it's been so fun to see some of you have finishes and be posting your progress. We're so close to the end, and it's really awesome. So I wanted to start off just by sharing the project that I'm working on for this challenge, and that is the Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. I'll put a picture up here of what that is going to look like in the end, and I'll also pop a picture up there of where I was at the beginning of the challenge, so you can kind of see all the stitching that led up to it in the last couple months. But this time, since the last time I saw you, I got completely caught up. I think I was a little bit behind last time. I added 611 stitches, and I'm now at 55.29%. So if Winston will get out of the way, we'll be able to see where I'm at on Fruits of Plenty. So this is my progress. And basically what I worked on this time is this section right in through here. So I think I completed all of the outline of the lighter green, and I started filling in a little bit of the motif here with the darker green color. I didn't get too far on that, but yeah, that's what I started. And I kind of was just working a little bit here and there. So if I had an extra little bit of light green, so I came over here and I did this, and I filled in this heart here with the light green. I think I filled in this triangle, or maybe the one on this side. So just kind of odds and ends things as I had little pieces of thread left. That's what I'm really liking about being this far in the project now is, you know, if I run out of a place to go with the thread that I'm currently using and I have a little bit left, I can usually find a spot to fill that in, which is really nice. I'm stitching this on a 32 count vintage smoky white from Zweigart, and I'm stitching it 2 strands over 2 with 2 DMC colors, and yeah, absolutely loving this. So I'm so happy this challenge got me to 55%. That is great to be over the halfway mark, and I really just love working on this. So this has been a lot of fun to see it grow for Whip into Shape. But that is Fruits of Plenty. Now, along those lines, I do have some bad news and some good news. So which do you want to hear first? I guess I'm going to go with the bad news first, just because we're talking about the Whip into Shape challenge, and yeah, this is part of what's been going on with life. So unfortunately, I am going to be moving by the end of this month. My lease is up at the end of the month, and originally I was not planning on a move, and that's why the marathon timing sort of was fine, and I didn't think anything of it. But unfortunately, I will be moving by the end of the month. I do have a place lined up that I'll be going to, and Winston and I will be moving in there and sort of, you know, finding our way at the new place. But all that to be said is there was just no way that I could move at the end of the month and be halfway across the world at the end of the month. So unfortunately, I am not going to be able to run the Sydney Marathon, and I'm really disappointed. Definitely a bummer for me. I was really looking forward to the trip. I was really looking forward to the race, and it just wasn't meant to be this year for me. So I want to just say I'm sorry to all of you who have been stitching along this whole time in the challenge, and it sort of feels like a letdown, right? That the big day at the end is not going to be coming. But I've been trying to look at it in a positive light and trying to just be grateful for all of the training that I did over the past several months. That was a lot of time and a lot of running, and I'm really proud of the fact that I got all the way through the training program. We're 2 weeks out. And so I hope that you can be proud of that too. You've got so much stitching done during this challenge. I hope you're able to look at it as that journey rather than the final destination. And I hope you're not too disappointed with me. Believe me, this was not what I wanted to happen. But life just kind of threw some curveballs, and that's okay. And I will get through this as well. And I can be a little bit disappointed and bummed, but at the same time, I am just really grateful for all of your support throughout this entire training season. Even when I was injured, you all supported me so much, and I hope you're not too disappointed. I think that's the main thing. I did think about looking for a different marathon that would be closer, and just the timing of it, with it being the 31st of August was when the race was supposed to be. There was just no way. Like, I have to be moving out of my apartment on the 31st and into my new apartment sometime at the beginning of September. So it's just too much. Maybe I will look for another marathon in September once I'm a little bit more settled. I do also have the New York City Marathon lined up for November. So if all things go according to plan for that, I will be running that. And hopefully maybe some of you can stitch along with that day as well, and sort of count that as the final part of the challenge. But yeah, I really am sorry that it went down like this, and that the challenge didn't end as I wanted. But I want you all to know I'm so happy with all of your progress, and I do still plan on doing the running for the next 2 weeks. I doubt I'll do the full marathon run unless it happens to be a beautiful day and I just need to get out and I'm feeling good. Maybe I'll put in some miles. But I will be running for the next 2 weeks. So if you want to keep stitching along, please do. That would be great. I was talking to Kat from Cat Can Lily a little bit, and she mentioned maybe we should have just like a big marathon stitching day on the day that I would have been running the race, and we'll all just stitch as much as we can that day. And that will sort of get us through when I can't be running, but we'll all just be stitching. So that's an idea too. But yeah, if you want to keep stitching along, please do. And I still do hope to put together a video at the end of those 2 weeks of everyone's progress. And I'll talk more about that in one of my coming videos, but it might just be that video comes after the move when I have more time to kind of put things together. So yeah, I hope you understand that. I think we all know life kind of comes at us in different ways. And yeah, I hope you're not too disappointed, and you can just kind of live in the positive of what we actually were able to accomplish over the last several months. So that was the bad news. Let's move on to some good news, right? And the good news is I reached 6,000 subscribers the other week, and I'm completely blown away by that. I can't believe that there's 6,000 people who are interested in what I'm doing with cross stitch, and who are interested in my life and what's going on, and who are interested in Winston. And I just can't say thank you enough for that. So that really means a lot to me. I never thought I'd be at this point when I started this journey almost 2 years ago now, and you all have meant so much. So I want to do a little bit of a giveaway to celebrate that. So I've got 6 things here that I'd like to give away, and some of them will be United States only. Actually, I think they all are going to be US only. Unfortunately, with just everything going on with the tariffs, I just can't justify it at this point, especially with my move. But so these will be US only, unfortunately. But just know that I do appreciate you no matter where you are, and hopefully eventually we'll get back to a point where I can ship things wherever. So let's go through the giveaways. I've got 6 things lined up, and I hope you will enjoy some of these. So the first giveaway I've got is Angel of Christmas, and this is from Lavender and Lace. here is what this looks like. And this is the full chart. So if you are interested in stitching this, use the keyword angel, ANGEL, and that will be entered. Again, for all these giveaways, please don't use the word me please or giveaway or free or anything like that. You will need to be 18 years of age or older so I can get your address and send these out to you. And please be a subscriber and like this video as well. Yeah, and I will do next week in my video, I will do a random YouTube comment picker to pull the winners, and I'll draw them next week. So make sure you come back next week to see if you might be the winner. But the first one is Angel from Lavender and Lace. You can use the word angel. The second one is also a lavender and lace pattern, and I figured this would be a good time to give this away because it's before Christmas, so it might give you time to start it for Christmas. But this is the spirit of Christmas, and it's this amazing Santa. And I actually have two of this pattern. That's why I'm giving this one away. I love this Santa so much. I would love to stitch him someday. I think he's so classic and the colors are great. So yeah, the spirit of Christmas. So for this one, use the word Santa, S-A-N-T-A, if you would like to be entered to win that. Then I've got two kits here that I'd like to give away. The first one is called Old McNoah, and it is a Bucilla kit. Here is what this looks like. Look at these little pigs at the very front. Their little tails and their butts just sitting there. That is so cute. I can't get over it. But yeah, this is Old McNoah. I think it's like a Noah, but Old MacDonald version of Noah, which is kind of fun. This is a full kit, so it comes with the fabric and the floss and everything you need. So if you're interested in winning this, use the word Noah, N-O-A-H, and you'll be entered to win this. Again, US only. The next kit I've got, this is called Noah's Sampler. So another Noah kit. This one is so cute. This would look amazing in a little kid's room. Or you could even turn it into a birth sampler of some sort. But I just think these animals are adorable. They're so cute. Again, this is the full kit, so you'll get the fabric and all of the floss needed for this project. So if you're interested in this one, let's use the word bunny, because there's two bunnies here in the center. So B-U-N-N-Y for this one. All right, and the next giveaway I have is going to be last year's Evertote Nordic Holiday Countdown, their collaboration with Jacob. So I have all of the charts here, and that includes like the final chart as well. But if you want to do it day by day, they're all here with these beautiful images. You may have seen me stitch this last year at Christmas time. So this is a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And if you're interested in this booklet, let's use the word holiday, H-O-L-I-D-A-Y. And yeah, you can either stitch this day by day as Christmas if you're interested, or you can take the chart of the full thing and stitch it at that point. But I'd like to pass this on to someone. It's a beautiful chart, and I loved stitching it, so I hope you will too. So use the word holiday if you're interested in last year's 2024 countdown that you could potentially do this year. All right, and the final giveaway I have, this actually comes from a friend at StitchCon who gifted me 2 needle minders at the very end of the conference. And I didn't catch her name, but these needle minders are amazing. I thought there was only one in here, and when I opened it, I realized there were 2, but the one I'm going to give away is this one. They were both orcas, so they're both like this, but this is the needle minder. Is that not the cutest little needle minder you have ever seen? I absolutely love it. So if you're interested in this needle minder, use the word orca, O-R-C-A, and you'll be entered to win this cute little guy. I have one that I'm keeping for myself, so this is the extra one, and I'd be happy to pass it along to someone who will use it, and yeah, look forward to that. So those are the 6 giveaways I've got for 6,000 subscribers, and again, I cannot say thank you enough. I really appreciate all of your support. I hope you'll stick with me, even though the Whip into Shape Challenge didn't quite go as I had planned here at the end. But I hope you'll stick with me. We'll come up with more challenges, we'll have more fun, and we'll get more stitching done, and we'll go from there. So that's the good news and the giveaway. Now let's move into my whips. So I'm going to sort of rearrange here and I'll be right back. All right, let's jump into my whips. So I've got 5 whips to share with you this week, and part of those are my temperature stitching. So let's start with that. The first one I've got for you is the Witch Whip piece, and that is Heirloom Bear, and that was called for 3 days of temperature stitching, which is roughly 300 stitches. Here is what Heirloom Bear is going to look like. And again, I'm not counting my stitches completely with this, so I have roughly 300 added, but you will definitely see a difference. So what did I get done this time? Well, I worked on the yellow part of his glasses, so his glasses are completely outlined. And then I worked on this section right here, where it's these different colors of browns and yellows in there. It's not done, so there are some holes in there that I'll have to go back and fill out. And I think I actually worked a little bit more in the bear itself with these lighter browns up here. So yeah, that is where I got to. I'm still just in this upper corner, but really enjoying this, this piece. Now, because I am going to be moving, and this piece is a little big, it is not going to be coming out in the next several weeks. And so that will kind of dictate my plans. I think temperature stitching is going to have to go away for a few weeks while I am moving, and then I'll get back to it eventually. But for now, it's just a matter of packing all of my whips and making sure I have everything moving to the new place, so that I'm definitely taking my cross stitching, and yeah, just having a couple pieces out that I can stitch on. So temperature stitching might not be around for the next couple of weeks. The next temperature piece was French Rose, and this is by Running with Needles and Scissors. Here is what this is going to look like. It's so pretty. And since the last time, actually I think I've got a video of the starting point of where I was, so I will pop that in here. Okay, here's my starting point for a French Rose, and you can definitely see the stitches so much better in this light today. So yeah, my last video was not great in sharing this piece, but here's where I am. So I am gonna start right here on this bottom section and see if I can get all the way across. I just really wanna get this border completed, and that's gonna be my goal. So we'll see, you'll see it now. And since the last time you saw it, I was able to add in 203 stitches, and here is where I'm at. So what did I work on this time? Well, I completed this leafy border all the way to the end. So I don't know how well you can see that stitching because it is very tone on tone, but hopefully you can see that these leaves now go all the way to the end, and I completed this little motif there as well. So then since that was done, I came over here and I started filling in this single line border that goes all the way underneath it, and that's why I have this like dangling thread at the bottom, because I wasn't quite done filling in those stitches, but the number of stitches were counted and were done. So yeah, that's where I am now. I really love how this is looking. The tone on tone is so cool in person, and I love how the stitching just sort of like fades in and out of the fabric really, really well. Yeah, I think I also added maybe this little diamond motif here of those 4 stitches. But most of the work was on the bottom border. So the border matched, and I'm super, super happy about that. And I'll just complete that single line border at the very bottom, and then I can get into the meat of the pattern, which is super exciting. So this is stitched on a 40 count curtain call by Lap and Loops, and I'm stitching with Almond M&M's Velvet Rouge is the color. And I don't know exactly how far I am on this piece because I have it in markup, but it's not quite right. So I'm just kind of stitching as I go, but I did put 200 stitches into this, so that's exciting. Okay, and the final temperature stitching piece I've got for you is Stack of Pancakes. This is from Sammy Stitches store on Etsy, and here is what this is going to look like, except mine will be on black fabric. I think I've got a starting point video for this one, maybe not. If I do, I'll pop it in. If I don't, you'll just move right onto this part. But since the last time I was able to see you, I added 201 stitches, and that puts me at 61.85% of this piece. So I'm now over the 60% mark, which is awesome. Again, you're gonna see a lot of parked threads because I'm doing the diagonal method, and here is where I'm at. So I worked more on this diagonal right in through here. I think maybe when I started, I was kind of up here right above this darker reddish orange line. So I think I was kind of up in here, and I worked my way all the way down to here. So I'm getting close to the bottom of this diagonal. It does go a little bit lower than this last stitch here. But yeah, maybe like 1 or 2 more sessions and this diagonal will be complete. And then I'll get to hop back up and start here and work my way down again. But I'm loving this piece. It's great to be at 60%. Feels like I'm finally making progress and getting somewhere. And when you look at this, when you step back and look at it, look at the stack of pancakes. They look so delicious. With the syrup dripping down, I'm just amazed at how good this looks. This is stitched on a 20 count black Aida, and I'm doing 2 strands of DMC over 1 Aida thread, and I'm using all the called for DMC. I wouldn't try changing this. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Again, to be at 61% feels like a good milestone, and even though I've still got a lot of stitches left to go, I'll take it as it comes. But this will definitely come back out when I pick temperature stitching back up again, but I think just for the next couple of weeks it's probably going to be a little too challenging to stitch on, and I just need easy things while I'm dealing with the stress and logistics of moving. All right, next up is Saga, and here, this is from Long Dog Samplers. Here is what this is sort of going to look like. I am on the third arch, or the third row from the top in the center arch. And we had the fun story. I'm so glad you all enjoyed the flamingos last week. That was definitely a fun story for me too. But yeah, definitely one to keep up in this piece. And this is one that is very therapeutic for me to stitch. So I definitely enjoy it. I'll pop a video in here of where I was when I started. And since you last saw it, I was able to add in 581 stitches, putting me at 43.66% on this piece. And here is where I got to. Here's the whole thing. And here is the arch that I was working on. So I think the last time I didn't have all of this part completed. So I finished all of this here at the bottom, and I worked on these. I think they're maybe hens or roosters or chickens. I have to finish this one, the body, just a little bit. I've got a few missing stitches there, and then I'll have to bring this kind of border over all the way across. But other than that, that arch is done, which I'm super excited about. And that means I get to move on to the next one over here and see what fun story we get in there. So yeah, this is Saga. This is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha. I'm using the Silks For You PR207, and just love it. This has been so much fun to stitch, and definitely a piece where I can just get in the zone, pull my strand of floss, and just kind of go. You will see here that in this chicken or rooster, the coloring is a little bit different, and that is because the silks that I'm using, they are slightly variegated, and I think because I must have switched thread at this point, switched a piece of floss, and the way I was like going back and forth with this, I think it kind of left this little, like, you can see the head is sort of a little bit darker. I don't mind it, and it kind of appears throughout the piece, but when you hold it back, you don't really see that very much because all of the blending sort of goes in together, but it does just show that there is a little bit of variegation in this floss. There's also some pieces in the silk where the dye didn't quite take as much, so there's like little parts of the silk that are almost a much lighter blue, and I have been cutting those out because I kind of like just the look of the darker blue, even though it's like different hues of the dark blue. The light just kind of stood out too much. I've stitched with it a couple times and then pulled it out because I just didn't like how it looked. So I have been cutting that if it's in the floss at all. It's not every strand of silk, but there are definitely some where you can tell the dye just didn't take quite as well. And so I'm just kind of fussy cutting around that. But yeah, so I am now, I think I said, but I'm now at 43.66% on Saga, which is awesome. All right, and the final piece I've got for you this week is Put a Bird on It. This is also by Modern Folk Embroidery. Seems to be a trend here in my need for therapeutic stitching. But this is what Put a Bird on It looks like. Mine is going to look a little bit different because I'm doing monochromatically on a green fabric, but that's what the piece will look like. And again, I pulled this out because I thought I need to work on this piece, first of all, because I do want to finish it by the end of the year, but also it's another piece where I can really just get in the zone because I'm just using one silk for the whole thing and I can just kind of go. So I pulled it out, put no pressure on myself to get anything done, and worked on it. But here's the video of where I was when I started. All right, I decided to pull out Put a Bird on It, and here's my starting point for the week. So I'm gonna try to at least finish this motif here, but we'll see how far I get. And since then, I was able to add in 1,312 stitches, and that puts me at 88.2%. So I'm getting very close now, which is exciting. Here is what my Put a Bird on It looks like. All right, so what did I work on this time? Well, first of all, I finished this motif right here, which was so much fun. I love those geometric shapes. I loved stitching these flowers. I love how the color sort of turned out in that piece. And once I finished that, I actually jumped up here and filled in this motif because I thought originally I was going to leave this to the end, and it just started bothering me that there was that big hole there. Now, I know I still need to put my initials in here, which I will probably at the very end or close to the very end. So I still have that gap that's there. But I decided I'm just gonna jump up here and fill in these birds. So I got that bird motif done, and I think that is super, super cute. I love those little birds. And then I basically have three motifs left. So I've got this one here at the bottom that I'm working on now. This is probably the largest of the three. It's got a bird here that you can see, and then it's got two more birds at the top and then one more on the other side. So that will definitely have some more work to do. That's going to be a very large Quaker motif. Then I've got a small one right here that will be two birds. I think that is the one I'll save till the very end. And then I've got the final Quaker motif that will go on this side over here in this section. So yeah, that is what it looks like so far, and I'm super happy with it. This is a piece I will definitely want to get framed and have hanging somewhere. This is a 32 count tartan green linen that is not fun to stitch on. You've heard me talk about that before, but I do think that the final is looking beautiful. I'm stitching it with Be Stitch Me silk in the colorway Dandelion, and I am using 2 strands of that silk because of the 32 count. And so my stitches don't always lay the neatest, but I'm doing my best, and I'm just sort of letting it go. You know, I really love how it looks. I think it's going to look great up on the wall, and so it's just going to look handmade and stitched, and I love it. But that is Put a Bird on It. So I will probably keep this one out. I think the 3 pieces I'll be working on will be Saga, Fruits of Plenty, and Put a Bird on It because they are just simple. It doesn't require a lot of materials. I can stitch them in hand. And right now that's what I've got. So other things are being packed away. So Put a Bird on It will stay out, and we'll see how far I can get in this little stretch of time between now and when I move. And yeah, that is a total of 3,208 stitches for the last week, which I'm floored that I got that much done in a very busy and traumatic and stressful week. And maybe that's why, because I turned to stitching to sort of ease my mind a little bit. As far as plans go, I don't really have any plans set. Now, I did want to go ahead and spin my Whipco wheel. I talked to you last time about the 2 projects that were picked for August. And even though I'm not going to be stitching them in August because there's just too much going on and they're packed away, I did want to spin the wheel just to see what number of stitches they would be assigned, so that when we move into September, if I decide to pick Whipco back up, then I can just continue spinning the wheel and finding the numbers for those. So anyway, the 2 projects that were picked for August were Gaia the Earth Goddess and Beyonce. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel to see how many stitches Beyonce should have gotten in August. 1,700. Okay, 1,700 for Beyonce. And let's spin one more time and see how many for Gaia, the Earth Goddess. All right, and 500 for Gaia. So I will put those in my Whipco board, but I'm not going to work on them in August. Maybe I'll try to pick that up later on down the year. If not, those 2 squares just won't get done. But I wanted to at least assign it the number that it should have had. So I'll update my Whipco board, and once we get the September numbers, I'll figure out if I'm going to continue forward with Whipco and and go from there. Other than that, I don't really have any plans. Like I said, I'm probably going to be stitching on just those 3 projects because that's what feels nice right now. And so I don't have a lot of plans, but I will try to come back to you next week, and we'll do the giveaway winners, and I'll at least show you whatever I've got done on the projects I have. So thank you so much for sticking with me if you're still here at this point. And again, really sorry for how everything turned out with the race. I know a lot of you were supporting me and excited for my trip, and I was too, and I am disappointed. But let's focus on the positive and focus on the fact that we put in so much stitching and so much training over the last few months, and that's a great thing that we can celebrate, even though the trip and the race didn't work out in the end. And I think that's all I've got for you this week. So keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.